You see, something's going to happen.
What? What's going to happen?
Something wonderful.
What?
I understand how you feel. You see, it's all very clear to me now.
For millennia, practitioners of ritual magic and witchcraft have burned incense and crafted potion from sacred plants, not only for symbolic reasons, but also to harness their very real effects on the human body and consciousness. Modern science recognizes 12 cranial nerves that mediate our senses: smell, sight, taste, hearing, touch, and vital functions. Interestingly, many traditional ritual herbs engage these same pathways. Aromatic incense like frankincense and sage stimulate the olfactory nerve CN1, directly influencing the limbic system, the brain's emotional center, to induce calm or trance. Pungent spices like peppermint and clove activate the trigeminal nerve CN5, creating sensations of cooling or numbness. Even infamous witching herbs like mandrake contain alkaloids affecting the oculomotor nerve CN3, dilating pupils, and the vagus nerve CN10, slowing the heart. Thus, the magical effects of these botanicals often have concrete neurological correlates. In these episodes, we will explore a pantheon of herbs, resins, and incenses, from common kitchen herbs like rosemary and peppermint to temple incenses like myrrh, detailing both their traditional magical uses and their physiological effects, especially on the senses and nerves. Each plant or resin is discussed separately to highlight its unique virtues. Through this comprehensive analysis, we see how ritual magic's herbal lore interweaves spiritual intention with pharmacology, aligning the energy of the plants with tangible sensations and healing responses. Here's my thesis in plain terms. Much of what passes for spells or deity contact in ritual, in my opinion, is a finely tuned psychodrama driven by chemistry and staging, not gods. Incense isn't just smell. It's pharmacology rooted straight through the olfactory nerve and trigeminal system into the limbic brain. Linalool and lavender lowers arousal. Menthol and peppermint snaps attention while cooling the face. Incensol acetate and frankincense promotes a warm anxiolytic calm. Spicy eugenals and terpenes tweak pain and breath, nudging vagal tone towards safety. Dim lights, chant, rhythm, and expectation do the rest. The body shifts first. Slower heart, looser muscles, easier breath, and the mind backfills a grandiose story to explain the shift. The story is typically a presence has entered the room. Under pressure, the psyche prefers agency over accident. So once the chemicals have softened anxiety, ritual furnishes both an answer, a benevolent helper, and a villain, a hexer, archon, or planetary malefic, to absorb blame for what we can't fix or when comprehension stings or is at a loss completely. The relief you feel becomes proof the helper is real, and so are the delusions. Standing there in cosplay, burning herbs and incense to the god or goddesses you think you're connecting with, and in all actuality, the only thing you're connecting with is chemicals, not your cosmic psychotherapist. This is the exact point when the so-called witch or magician becomes a slave to the gods the terrified mind has constructed to bring on ease and relief, typically in a lie. In my view, most witches and magicians are running this loop far more often than they are contacting anything external, and even far less of the internal. By the time you have finished listening to these shows or reading it in a book, Scott Cunningham's books on herbs should look like Dr. Seuss to any serious alchemist, magician, or occultist. Going forward, I would also like to add that the associations given should be meditated on. Why are these associated with each other? There is reasons. And the first one up is lavender. Folk name, elf leaf. It's masculine. It's associated with the planet Mercury, the element of air, the goddess Hecate and the god Mercury, and is used for love, peace, protection, sleep, and purification, amongst others. Lavender is cherished in magic for its ability to bring peace, clarity, and healing. It is often used in spells to calm tensions, attract gentle love, and provide psychic protection. In witchcraft traditions, lavender is associated with spiritual purification and the third eye chakra. Its sweet aroma helps clear the mind, enhance intuitive vision, and invite restful sleep. Healers burn lavender or use its oil to cleanse a space of negative vibes and to lift the spirits with loving Venusian energy. Folklore notes lavender's power to protect against the evil eye and to soothe heartbreak or grief. Dried lavender blossoms are added to sachets for love and tranquility, and it's a common ingredient in dream pillows to prevent nightmares. In short, lavender's magical correspondences span from love and romance to protection and peace. The relaxing reputation of lavender has a well-established biochemical basis. Its essential oil is rich in linalool and linalool acetate, which have sedative, anxiolytic, anxiety-reducing effects on the nervous system. Inhaling lavender engages the olfactory nerve, CN1, and directly influences brain regions governing stress. Medical studies show that lavender's aroma enhances GABA neurotransmission, which quiets the central nervous system, much like anti-anxiety medications, but gentler. This GABA modulating effect explains why lavender oil can improve sleep quality and even compare to low-dose tranquilizers in efficacy. Clinically, a specific lavender extract, known as Selexin, can be shown to reduce anxiety and promote deep, slow-wave sleep without sedation. Additionally, lavender's scent lowers heart rate and blood pressure via the vagus nerve, the CN10, inducing a state of parasympathetic calm. Some hospitals now use lavender aromatherapy for patients, as it reliably reduces agitation and improves mood. Thus, when a witch burns lavender springs to consecrate a ritual or anoints herself with lavender oil before meditation, there is a dual action. Spiritually, it purifies and uplifts. Physically, it actually quiets the mind and calms the cranial nerves, preparing one for focused intent. No wonder lavender has been called nature's tranquilizer. By soothing frazzled nerves and easing anxiety, lavender creates an ideal mental state for prayer, healing work, or drift into prophetic dreams. Next, we have ginger. Folk name, Jamaica ginger. It's masculine. It's associated with the planet Mars, the element of fire. It's associated with the god Mars and Aries, and it's used for power, success, money, lust, quick results, and more. Ginger root is a beloved ingredient in folk magic, renowned for its fiery speed-up energy. In many traditions, ginger is considered a powerful magical catalyst. It is added to spells to amplify their effect and to bring results faster. The root's natural warmth and spice correspond to the element of fire and the planet Mars, symbolizing courage, passion, and movement. Witches use ginger in workings for prosperity and success. For example, sprinkling powdered ginger in money-drawing charm bags because it attracts energy, wealth, and abundance quickly. Likewise, in love magic, ginger's heat is employed to spark or intensify passion. A bit of ginger in a love oil or a potion is believed to attract romance and stimulate desire. Ginger is also used for protection. Burning ginger or carrying a piece can ward off negativity and evil, creating a protective fiery barrier around the practitioner. Some hoodoo traditions anoint candles with ginger oil or eat a sliver of ginger before spell work to empower their personal aura, essentially to increase one's own magical potency and courage. As one modern occult source notes, ginger's magical properties include amplification, attraction, courage, strength, prosperity, protection, and healing. In simple terms, ginger puts more heat into any spell, accelerating its workings and emboldening the spellcaster. Medieval magicians even associated ginger with the fiery breath of the dragon, a fitting image for its ability to energize and add bite to rituals. Ginger's fiery magic is mirrored in its tangible effects on the body's nerves and circulation. When you ingest ginger or even smell its sharp aroma, it activates the trigeminal nerve CN5, endings responsible for sensing spice and heat. The phenolic compounds like gingerol and ginger cause the warm, tingling zing on the tongue, a trigeminal stimulation similar to chili peppers, though milder. This stimulation triggers the release of endorphins and increases blood flow, producing a gentle whole-body warming and energizing effect. Indeed, in herbal medicine, ginger is known as a circulatory stimulant and digestive fire kindler. Ginger's impact on the vagus nerve is also notable. It aids digestion by promoting vagal tone in the gut, which is why ginger tea relieves nausea and stomach upsets. Neurologically, ginger may enhance cognitive function by modestly boosting metabolism and blood supply to the brain. Some studies suggest ginger can improve attention and memory in middle-aged women, for example, likely due to its antioxidant and anti-inflammatory effects. At minimum, ginger's zesty scent is invigorating to the senses in aromatherapy tests. Ginger aroma tends to increase alertness and enhance reaction times. It even influences pain pathways. Gingerol and related compounds combine to pain receptors, which is partly why ginger alleviates muscle pain and headaches, a bit like a natural painkiller. In short, ginger warms up the nervous system. It literally makes our skin feel hot and our heart pump faster, due to vasodilation. In magical terms, this translates to an increase in personal energy and will. Next time a practitioner chews on ginger or drinks ginger tea before a ritual, they are not only following folklore to increase magical power, they are also raising their body's metabolic and neural activity, entering the spell with heightened vigor and focus. This fiery stimulation of nerves and blood is the perfect complement to ginger's Mars-like magical persona as the herb of courage and swift action. Next, we have peppermint. Folk name brandy mint. It's masculine, associated with the planet Mercury and the element of air. It can be associated with the god Hades or Mercury, and is used for healing, purification, mental clarity, strength, and more. Peppermint's bright, crisp energy has made it a staple in witchcraft for cleansing, healing, and mental clarity. In magic, peppermint, and mints generally, are often used to purify a space or one's aura. For example, by sprinkling mint leaves in bath water or burning peppermint incense to dispel negative vibrations. The refreshing scent is believed to increase the vibrations of an area, driving away low or harmful energies and inviting positivity. Peppermint is also strongly tied to psychic power and alertness. Many practitioners will inhale peppermint oil or keep a peppermint plant on the altar to sharpen their mind before divination. As one herbal compendium notes, peppermint's magical properties are associated with healing, purification, psychic powers, sleep, and love. It's said to enhance third eye awareness and even induce prophetic dreams when placed under a pillow. For this reason, peppermint is a common ingredient in dream pillows alongside lavender and mugwort. In hoodoo, peppermint, sometimes called the mint leaves, is used in mojo bags for financial success and good luck, owing to its reputation for attracting positive high vibration influences. Peppermint can also be employed in healing spells. Its soothing, cooling nature symbolically cools fevers and tempers anger, and relieves emotional pain. Placing fresh peppermint around a home is even thought to invite friendly spirits and ward off malicious ones. Overall, peppermint's magic is one of upliftment and protection. It clears away negativity, awakens the mind, and surrounds one with an invigorating, healthy aura. No wonder folk sayings claim that thriving peppermint in one's garden brings peace to the household and abundance to the wallet. Modern science confirms peppermint's remarkable effect on both mind and body, especially through its impact on our sensory nerves. The cooling menthol in peppermint directly activates the trigeminal nerve, the CN5 endings in mucous membranes. When you apply peppermint oil or inhale its vapor, menthol binds to TRPM8 receptors, fooling the nerves into sensing cold. This creates that distinct, cooling, refreshing sensation in the sinuses and on the skin. The trigeminal activation by menthol has systemic consequences. It can relieve tension headaches by desensitizing pain fibers. Hence, peppermint oil rubbed on the temples eases headache pain, as the menthol numbing trigeminal nerve reduces headache sensation. Peppermint scent also has a strong cognitive effect. Controlled studies have shown that peppermint aroma enhances memory and increases alertness in test subjects. In one study, people working in peppermint-scented environment had better performance on memory recall and felt more awake than those in an unscented or yin-yang-scented room. This aligns with traditional uses. Students in ancient Greece wore sprigs of mint to stay sharp during exams. Peppermint additionally clears the respiratory passages. Its menthol stimulates cold receptors in the nose and lungs, leading to a feeling of clear breathing and even causing a reflex dilation of bronchial passages. This is partly why peppermint is used for colds and congestion. Through the olfactory nerve and trigeminal pathways, peppermint directly impacts the limbic system and the reticular activating system, leading to an awake but calm mental state. One fascinating study found that prolonged low-level exposure to peppermint aroma improved participants' concentration and reduced mental fatigue. And in drivers, sniffing peppermint was shown to decrease frustration and increase alertness, potentially reducing aggressive driving. On the digestive front, peppermint's effect on the vagus nerve CN10 is notable. It relaxes the gastrointestinal smooth muscle via antispasmodic action, alleviating indigestion and nausea, hence peppermint tea for an upset stomach. This vagal soothing can translate to an overall relaxation response in the body. In summary, peppermint activates and soothes simultaneously. It clears your head, heightens your senses, yet also eases pain and tension. This dual action perfectly mirrors its magical profile. It clears away negativity and enhances psychic clarity, while also promoting healing and calm. When a witch burns peppermint during a ritual for focus or places mint in a charm for luck, they are unknowingly engaging the very nerves that heighten focus and improve mood. The scientific verdict aligns with the magical lore. Peppermint truly is an herb to refresh the spirit and invigorate the mind. Next, we have frankincense. Folk name, Alabanum. It's masculine. It's associated with the sun, the element of fire. It's associated with the god Ra, Helios, Apollo, and it can be used for purification, exorcism, protection, spirituality, and more. Frankincense is perhaps the most revered incense in religious and magical practices across cultures, often called the king of incense. In ceremonial magic and church ritual alike, frankincense resin is burned for purification, protection, and spiritual consecration. Its rich white smoke is believed to carry prayers to the heavens and to sanctify any space or object it touches. Traditional lore holds that frankincense releases powerful vibrations which uplift all those present and drive out evil and negativity. Indeed, frankincense is a standard ingredient in the exorcism incenses and rites of banishing. It's said that no malign spirit can tolerate its holy fragrance. This resin is also associated with the sun and with divine masculine energy. Notably, it was one of the gifts to Christ by the Magi. Witches and priests alike use frankincense to consecrate ritual tools, altars, or sacred spaces. The idea is that its smoke not only physically cleanses the air, but also spiritually illuminates and sanctifies the environment. In Wicca, frankincense is often burned at dawn and is linked to the element of fire and the solar plexus chakra, promoting positivity and confidence. Its magical properties are summarized as protection, exorcism, spirituality, cleansing, consecration, and purification. Beyond cleansing, frankincense is used to induce spiritual visions and deep meditation. Plutarch wrote that the Egyptian priests burned frankincense at morning prayers to greet the sun, myrrh at noon, and a compound kifi at dusk. Modern practitioners likewise burn frankincense during meditation or divination to deepen concentration and open the mind to divine messages. The resin is so sacred that formulas for holy incense in the Bible, Exodus 30, include frankincense as a key component, reserved for worship of the divine. In summary, frankincense in magic blesses and connects to the heavens. It creates a high vibrational atmosphere, protects against any impure influence, and facilitates a state of prayerful devotion or trance. Little wonder it has remained in continuous ritual use for over 3,000 years. Recent scientific discoveries have shown that burning frankincense is not only symbolically uplifting, it literally has neuroactive properties that relieve anxiety and depression. In 2008, pharmacologists identified a compound in boswellia resin called incensol acetate and found that it activates specific ion channels in the brain, TRPV3 receptors that play a role in emotional regulation. When insensol acetate was administered to mice, it produced pronounced anxiolytic and antidepressant effects. The mice showed reduced anxiety and more ease in stress tests. Remarkably, this is one of the first scientific demonstrations that incense can be psychoactive. The researchers noted, burning frankincense activates poorly understood ion channels in the brain to alleviate anxiety or depression, providing a biological explanation for millennia-old spiritual practices. Essentially, inhaling frankincense smoke engages the olfactory nerve, CN1, which sends the insensol acetate into the limbic system, where it triggers a warmth-sensitive receptor in neurons that causes a calming, feel-good effect. The editor-in-chief of the FASEB journal, commenting on this study, said it provides a biological basis for millennia-old spiritual practices. Burning incense really does make you feel warm and tingly all over. Aside from insensol acetate, frankincense contains boswellic acids known to have anti-inflammatory effects. Though these don't evaporate well, they act when ingested. However, the aromatic portion, the essential oil, also has mild expectorant and focus-enhancing qualities. Many people find that the scent of frankincense, lemony, balsamic with deep resinous undertones, slows down the breath and promotes a meditative calm. This likely occurs by modulating the parasympathetic nervous system via olfactory limbic pathways, reducing heart rate and blood pressure. In traditional Chinese medicine, frankincense resin was even taken internally to calm the mind, ease chest tightness, and improve memory. Interestingly, beyond the brain, TRPV3 receptors that insensol acetate targets are also present in skin and peripheral nerves. They are involved in warm sensation. This might explain the subtle, pleasant warmth one feels during prolonged incense burning. In effect, frankincense quiets overactive neural circuits while gently stimulating those related to contentment, a combination that yields a centered, uplifting mental state. This perfectly complements its magical use. As frankincense smoke wafts through a temple or circle, it chemically soothes the participant's nervous system, making them more receptive to prayer, contemplation, or communion with the divine. The ancients intuited frankincense's power. Now we know it works not just by pleasing the gods, but by attuning our own brainwaves and nerves to a more serene frequency. Truly a sacred tool for both spirit and body. Next we have myrrh, folk name gum myrrh. It's feminine, associated with the moon and the element of water, associated with the goddesses Isis and Astarte, and used for healing, protection, spirituality, and exorcism. Myrrh is the bittersweet sister of frankincense, often paired together in incense blends for church rituals and spells. In magic, myrrh is associated with the divine feminine, the great mother, and with rites of purification and consecration. Ancient Egyptians used myrrh in embalming and funeral ceremonies, so it became linked to honoring the dead and the journey of the soul, in contrast to frankincense's solar, life-giving connotations. Burning myrrh is thought to elevate vibrations, aid meditation, and foster healing and wisdom. One grimoire notes, burned before ritual, myrrh rids the area of negative vibrations. It helps cultivate wisdom and self-healing. Indeed, myrrh is commonly included in incense to cleanse a sacred space or to bless and anoint altars. In biblical lore, myrrh was one of the gifts to the Christ child, foreshadowing his death. It was used at his burial. Hence, myrrh symbolizes sacrifice, suffering, and also spiritual immortality. Protection is another key magical property. Myrrh's smoke drives out evil influences and is said to guard the soul of one who carries it. In medieval Europe, myrrh was hung in sachets to prevent hauntings or psychic attacks. Myrrh is also sacred to goddesses like Isis, Mary, and Venus in her sorrowful aspect. It represents the bitter tears of the goddess. In witchcraft, myrrh can be burned to communicate with the dead or as an offering when working with ancestors, as its vibration is believed to bridge the living and spirit realms. Notably, the Greek magical papyri include recipes where myrrh is burned to invoke love or attraction. One PGM spell instructs chanting a lover's name over burning myrrh to inflame her with love. Thus, beyond somber uses, myrrh is also used in love and healing spells as a catalyst to open the heart by releasing past pain, the logic being its bitterness expels sorrow to make way for love. Overall, myrrh's magical identity is complex. It purifies and protects like frankincense, but with a more introspective underworld quality, fostering meditation, inner healing, and safe passage through grief or spiritual trials. It is often said that frankincense is the light and myrrh the dark, complementary resins balancing each other in an incense of power. Myrrh's resinous smoke, like frankincense's, has notable effects on the body's senses and nervous system. Chemically, myrrh contains compounds such as furanosesquiterpenoids and sesquiterpene alcohols that give it astringent, analgesic, and antimicrobial properties. In the nervous system, myrrh is mildly sedative and analgesic. In traditional medicine, myrrh resin was applied to wounds to numb pain and prevent infection. Modern analysis shows myrrh can activate opioid receptors in mouse brains, hinting at a pain relief mechanism. This could relate to its effect on the trigeminal nerve pain fibers in wounds, perhaps why it soothes toothaches when applied to gums. In aromatherapy, inhaling myrrh oil tends to have a grounding, centering effect. Some describe it as calming the nerves but focusing the mind. It likely engages olfactory pathways similarly to frankincense, albeit myrrh's aroma is earthlier and more melancholic. Some research suggests myrrh's scent can reduce heart rate and blood pressure slightly, indicating parasympathetic vagal activation. Interestingly, while frankincense incensol acetate causes euphoria, myrrh's furanosesquiterpenes may cause a more introspective mood, not depression, but a thoughtful calm, aligned with myrrh's traditional use in mourning and meditation. On a sensory note, burning myrrh produces a somewhat bitter medicinal aroma. That bitterness on the tongue or nose can stimulate the glossopharyngeal nerve, CN9, and trigeminal nerve, causing a mild expectoration and tightening of mucous membranes. Hence, it dries the air. This astringency is associated with clearing congestion. Indeed, myrrh tinctures can help dry up excess mucus in bronchitis. Meanwhile, myrrh's influence on the brainwaves has not been studied as much as frankincense, but many meditators report that combining the two resins yield a deeper meditative state than either alone. It may be that myrrh complements frankincense by prolonging the calming alpha brainwaves after initial relaxation. In effect, frankincense lifts the mood and myrrh grounds and centers it, preventing the mind from wandering. In a ritual context, when myrrh is burned, the participants often describe feeling solemn or reverent. This is a likely mix of psychological expectation and genuine neurophysiology, slower breathing, lowered arousal. Moreover, the combination of frankincense and myrrh has been found to have synergistic antimicrobial effects, literally cleansing the air of bacteria, which could translate to easier breathing and a subtle relief of physiological stress. Summing it up, myrrh has a quieting, healing touch on the nerves. It does not blast one with stimulation. Rather, it gently deadens excess sensation and encourages introspection. In magical thinking, this equates to inner purification. Myrrh helps numb the pain of old wounds, physical or emotional, allowing one to process and release trauma, hence its use to heal personal sorrow. It is a fine example of a plant whose bitter medicine soothes, bridging the gap between the physiological and the spiritual cleansing of one's being. Next, we have copal. Folk name Copali. It is masculine, associated with the sun and the element of fire, associated with Tunatu and Eats Emna, and used for purification, love, protection, and divination. Copal is a term for aromatic resins from various trees, often in the torchwood family, used in indigenous Mesoamerican ceremonies and modern witchcraft. Sometimes called young amber, copal was burned by the Aztecs and Maya as a sacred offering to the gods and ancestors. In contemporary magic, copal is prized for its powerful, purifying, and protective properties. Its bright, citrusy, vanilla-scented smoke is used much like frankincense to cleanse ritual areas of negativity and to create a sacred space. Shamans will light copal at the start of the ceremony to call in benevolent spirits and drive out any malevolent forces. Copal is strongly linked to divine connection. Its smoke is said to carry prayers upward and to invite the presence of deities or helpful ancestors. In Latin American Day of the Dead rituals and other ancestor veneration, copal is often burned on altars so that the deceased loved ones can smell the offering and draw near. Because copal was offered as food for the gods, bread of the gods, it has a venerable status. Even in modern Wicca, some practitioners substitute copal for frankincense in spells if they prefer a resin native to the Americas. Magically, copal corresponds to the element of air in the sun. It has a bright solar energy. It is thought to fill a space with positive light, unlike sage, which primarily banishes negativity. For example, after smudging with sage to clear away bad energy, burning sweet copal can invite blessings and high vibrations into the newly cleared space. Copal is also used in manifestation magic. Its expansive energy raises vibrations to help one's intention reach the spiritual realm more. Some traditions consider copal smoke helpful in scrying or meditation, believing it can induce mild trance states that enhance visions. Overall, copal's magical profile is akin to a spiritual beacon or cleanser. It purifies, protects, and elevates. Its sweet fragrance feeds helpful spirits and creates a bridge between the mundane and the sacred. As a result, witches often include copal in incense blends for any rite involving contact with higher powers or for sanctifying a temple or circle with golden divine light. Burning copal resin produces a richly fragrant smoke that has notable effects on mood and air quality. Chemically, copal contains terpenes such as limonene, apennine, and 8-carene, which contribute to its citrusy, uplifting scent. Limonene is well known for its anxiolytic and mood-brightening effects. It modulates serotonin in the brain and can act as a mild antidepressant. Thus, inhaling copal smoke likely delivers limonene to the olfactory neurons, producing a subtle, euphoric, heart-opening feeling. Many people report that copal's aroma makes them feel happy or lighter. This aligns with its traditional use to invite positive energy. Neurochemically, it's literally boosting one's mood via limbic system activation. Pennine, another major component, has cognitive stimulating properties. It can enhance alertness and memory. Pine scents have been studied for improving focus. So copal smoke may simultaneously relax and focus the mind, a perfect combination for meditative ritual. Additionally, copal resin smoke has antimicrobial effects, like many resin incense. Studies showing burning resins like copal and frankincense can significantly reduce airborne bacteria. The indigenous practice of using copal in closed sweat lodges or during illnesses likely helped disinfect the air. In the nervous system, the pleasant smell of copal triggers the olfactory nerve, which then signals the limbic system to release dopamine and endorphins. This produces a slight sense of reward or sacredness. Physiologically, one might experience relaxed breathing and muscle tension reduction when copal is burned due to the calming terpenes. In terms of subtle perception, if copal smoke is thick, it can induce a mild trance simply by reducing oxygen a bit and providing a single-point sensory focus, the smell. Some practitioners claim that copal enhances their intuition. A plausible mechanism is that by calming the default mode network of the brain, copal allows clearer intuitive thoughts to arise. Copal's bright smoke also has a visual aspect. It is often white and billowy, similar to frankincense. Gaze scrying into copal smoke could relax the oculomotor nerve CN3 by fixed gazing and induce a meditative alpha wave state. In short, copal cleanses both the air and the mind. It literally makes the environment cleaner, antibacterial, and the mind cleaner, less anxious, more uplifted. This dovetails perfectly with its spiritual reputation as a purifier and divine connector. By affecting our brain chemistry towards positivity, Copal helps create the internal receptivity needed for communication with the divine or the ancestors. It is a beautiful example of a natural substance that works on multiple levels to open the road between humans and spirit. Now next we have sandalwood. Folk name Santal. It is feminine, associated with the moon, the element the water, and is associated with Lakshmi and other lunar deities. It is also used for love, healing, spirituality, and protection. Sandalwood is a treasured wood in magical and religious practice, known for its warm, woody, slightly sweet scent that instantly evokes tranquility. In Eastern spiritual traditions, Hindu or Buddhist, sandalwood is deemed a holy incense of the highest order. It is burned in almost every puja and meditation, believed to aid prayer and invite presence of gods. In Western occultism, sandalwood is likewise valued for ritual purification, consecration, and peace. Magically, sandalwood is often corresponded to the element water in the moon, despite being a wood, because of its cooling, soothing nature and its use in deep meditative states. It is said that sandalwood has a very high vibration, ideal for devotional and angelic magic. Indeed, many spells or incense formulas for seeking angelic contact or higher guidance include sandalwood as a key ingredient. When mixed with frankincense and myrrh, it creates a powerful temple incense. One classic blend for consecrating magical tools is simply sandalwood and frankincense. Sandalwood is also strongly associated with meditation and the third eye chakra. Burning sandalwood or anointing the forehead with sandalwood paste is believed to calm the conscious mind and open one's psychic center, facilitating clearer meditation and spiritual vision. In practical terms, a witch might burn pure sandalwood chips during a scrying or divination session to enhance focus. Protection and healing are secondary attributes. Due to its high vibration, sandalwood drives out low influences and creates a protective sphere of serenity. It is not a harsh banisher like garlic. Rather, it repels evil by emanating holy peace. Evil cannot abide the extremely pure resonance of sandalwood. Some folk beliefs also use sandalwood for wish fulfillment, writing a wish on a piece of sandalwood and burning it to release the intent to the universe. Sandalwood scent is universally seen as pleasing to all deities, which is why it's present in so many religious rites from India to Arabia. Overall, the magic of sandalwood lies in its ability to center, sanctify, and invite spiritual depth. It creates an ambience of the sacred, making it indispensable for any ritual aiming to transcend the mundane and touch the divine. The gentle aroma of sandalwood has notable sedative and anxiolytic effects on the nervous system. Pharmacologically, A-santalol, the primary component of sandalwood oil, is a central nervous system depressant in the best sense. It can induce physiological relaxation and even drowsiness. Studies in electrophysiology have shown that inhalation of sandalwood oils increases theta wave activity in the brain, a pattern associated with deep relaxation and meditation. This is perfectly in line with sandalwood's use for aiding meditation. In one experiment, people exposed to sandalwood odor had reduced alertness and increased calm, as well as slight decreases in skin galvanic response, indicating lower stress. This is likely mediated through the olfactory nerve to the limbic system, releasing neurotransmitters like dopamine or perhaps influencing GABA receptors. Some research suggests sandalwood components may modulate GABA, similarly to lavender. Notably, a 2021 study found that the A-santalol can induce sleepiness by acting on certain odorant receptors in the skin and nasal epithelium that signal to the brain's sleep centers. This led to the development of the sandalwood-based product to improve sleep onset in insomnia patients. In simpler terms, sandalwood's scent literally causes the brain to relax and prepare for sleep or meditation. It's a natural sedative without being a narcotic. It just nudges the brain into a slower rhythm. Additionally, sandalwood has mild analgesic properties. Aromatherapists have observed it can reduce perception of pain, likely by causing the release of endorphins or by distracting via pleasant sensation. This contributes to the physical comfort one feels in sandalwood-infused spaces. Heart rate and blood pressure tend to lower upon sandalwood inhalation, a sign of increased vagal parasympathetic activity and decreased sympathetic fight-flight tone. Some of sandalwood's compounds also bind to thermoreceptors and produce a cooling sensation, which might correlate to slight decreases in body temperature or skin blood flow, reinforcing a sense of calm. From a sensory perspective, sandalwood's smoke or aroma does not irritate the eyes or nose strongly. It's very gentle, which allows one to breathe deeply and slowly when it's present. This naturally leads to enhanced oxygenation and activation of the CN10, the vagus nerve, through diaphragmatic breathing, further calming the nervous system. Over time, frequent pairing of sandalwood scent with meditation creates a conditioned response. Even smelling a hint of sandalwood can immediately tell the brain it's time to relax and go inward. This conditioning is a practical magic in itself. In summary, sandalwood is the neurological antithesis of adrenaline. It consistently promotes a parasympathetic state of rest, digest, and reflect. This bioactivity is exactly what you want when performing contemplative rituals or trying to connect with subtle spiritual currents. It's fascinating that ancient yogis with no lab equipment chose sandalwood to calm the mind. Now science validates that choice, showing that sandalwood's chemistry literally tunes brainwaves toward meditative patterns. Thus, the high spiritual vibration sandalwood is said to possess may be understood in modern terms as its ability to guide the brain into synchronous, slow rhythms and harmonious neurochemistry. The incense of sandalwood links the above and below by aligning our physiological state with the peaceful, attentive state needed for higher consciousness. As the old magicians knew, it fixes the mind to the divine. Next, we have rose, which is feminine, associated with the planet Venus and the element water, and associated with the goddesses Aphrodite and Venus, and can be used for love, psychic power, healing, and luck. The rose is synonymous with love and beauty in the world of magic. Its soft petals and exquisite perfume have made it an emblem of Venusian energy, everything to do with love, from romance to self-love, attraction, and emotional healing. Witches and mystics use roses in countless ways. Rose petals sprinkled in a bath to attract love, rosebuds in sachets to promote friendship, rose water to consecrate the altar with vibrations of peace and harmony. It's typically known roses are used for love spells, healing, protection, and spiritual connection, and are considered a conduit for energy and a bridge between worlds. They are also protective in a gentle way. For instance, a rose bush planted by the door is said to keep out envy and intrusion. The idea of sub rosa, under the rose, signified secrecy and protection in ancient Rome. Divination and psychic wisdom are another aspect. Some traditions anoint the third eye with rose oil or keep a rose on the table during tarot readings, believing it invites guidance from loving spirits and enhances intuition. In angelic or devotional magic, the scent of roses is thought to attract angels and benevolent entities. Many people claim to smell roses during moments of divine presence. Furthermore, due to their association with the Blessed Mother in Christianity and goddesses Ishtar and Aphrodite, roses carry a spiritual authority for blessing and consecration. They can sanctify holy water, hence rose water in church rituals, and are used to bless people in ceremonies like hand fastings or baby blessings. In darker workings, dried rose thorns can act as subtle banishers or bindings. Their prickly nature hold or repels. But overwhelmingly, the rose's magic is positive and healing. Witches sometimes mediate on a mental inner rose blooming in the heart as a way to awaken self-love and psychic sight. With correspondences to water, emotions, and to Friday, the day of Venus, the rose is arguably one of the most magical flowers. It is literally considered a high vibrational plant. Modern energy healers claim roses have one of the highest energetic frequencies of any herb. The fragrance of roses has a well-known calming and uplifting effect on the human nervous system. Rose essential oil, extracted from rose petals, has been studied and found to reduce anxiety and promote relaxation. When subjects inhale rose oil, there are measurable drops in blood pressure, breathing rate, and cortisol levels, indicating activation of the parasympathetic nervous system and a reduction of the fight or flight response. One study found that rose oil aromatherapy significantly decreased anxiety in postpartum women, likely through modulation of GABA or dopamine in the brain. On the sensory level, the scent of rose engages the olfactory nerve, which relays directly to the limbic system, the amygdala, and the hippocampus. Rose aroma tends to increase feelings of comfort and decrease stress responses in the amygdala, partly explaining why it's associated with feelings of love and safety. There's also an interesting connection between rose scent and memory. Because many people have positive emotional memories linked to roses, gifts from loved ones, gardens, and etc., the smell can trigger release of oxytocin, the bonding hormone, and endorphins, giving a mild euphoria or sense of emotional warmth. From a cranial nerve perspective, rose interacts chiefly with the CN1, the olfactory. However, if one applies rose oil to the skin or in a massage, trigeminal nerve CN5 endings might pick up on a slight cooling or soothing sensation from the linalool and Cranial components. These components also have mild analgesic effects. One trial noted that rose oil topically reduced menstrual cramp pain, possibly by relaxing smooth muscle via the autonomic nerves. Another fascinating aspect, the electroencephalogram EEG pattern associated with rose essential oil inhalation shows an increase in alpha and theta waves, indicating a relaxed but alert mental state, similar to meditation. This aligns with rose's use in spiritual practices to elevate consciousness gently. Furthermore, a Japanese study found that sleeping in a rose-scented room led to more reports of pleasant dreams, suggesting rose aroma can influence the content of dreams, perhaps by bypassing emotional tone toward positive. This might be why folklore claims rose under the pillow encourages prophetic or loving dreams. In terms of hormonal effects, some small studies hint that rose oil can reduce adrenaline levels and maybe increase libido by lowering stress, linking to its aphrodisiac reputation not just as a symbol but physically as a relaxant that allows sensuality. As for protective qualities, one could argue that by stabilizing mood and promoting optimism, rose indirectly armors the psyche against negative thought patterns, which magicians might interpret as warding off evil influences. Interestingly, modern research has even looked at rose extract as an antidepressant. In traditional Persian medicine, rose was used for melancholy, and some contemporary herbalists used Rosa Damascena extract to alleviate depression and grief. It appears to interact with serotonin and opioid receptors, producing calm happiness. In summary, rose affects the brain and body primarily by reducing stress and enhancing emotional well-being. Its smell literally communicates you are safe, you are loved to the limbic system. It's a gentle sedative and mood brightener wrapped in one. So when a magical practitioner surrounds herself or himself with the scent and sight of roses to do a love spell or a healing meditation, the roses are biologically helping you achieve the necessary emotional state, open, trusting, and positive, for the magic to work. The phrase, "stop and smell the roses," has wisdom. It activates our cranial nerves in a way that forces a pause, a deep breath, and a smile. On the subtle level, one could say roses attune our nervous system to the frequency of love. And on the literal level, they cause measurable shifts towards a calm, heart-centered physiology. Next, we have benzoin. Folk name Java frankincense. It is masculine. It's associated with the sun and the element of air. It can be used for the god Apollo and is used for purification, prosperity, healing, and boost blends. Benzoin resin, often from the styrax tree, also called gum benjamin, is a sweet balsamic incense commonly used in ritual to purify, prosper, and amplify other spells. In traditional grimoires, benzoin is noted for its power of clearing the air of evil. It is burned to cleanse a home of negativity and to bless ritual working areas. Cunningham's Encyclopedia of Magical Herbs lists benzoin's power as purification, prosperity, and elevation of consciousness, which matches its widespread use in purification incenses and money-drawing mixtures. For instance, benzoin is a key ingredient in the classic Three Kings incense, frankincense, myrrh, and benzoin, used to sanctify churches and circles. Its presence raises the spiritual vibration and banishes stagnant or hostile forces. Magicians often add a pinch of benzoin resin or a few drops of its tincture to any incense blend to increase the power and longevity of the fragrance, which, in magical thinking, translates to amplifying the spell's energy. Benzoin is thus considered a natural spell booster or catalyst, similar to ginger but operating via smoke. Additionally, benzoin is associated with the element of air and the planet Mercury by some occult correspondences. Because of this, benzoin is used in magic to enhance communication with spirits or to mentally focus. Another common use is in money and success spells. Benzoin's sweet fragrance is thought to attract prosperity and good fortune spirits. Hoodoo recipes for wealthy business often include benzoin in incense or oils. Its golden brown resin color symbolically matches gold and cash. Furthermore, benzoin has a neat trick in ink making. It's used in making magical inks, like dragon's blood ink, because it preserves and potentiates the ink. Occult texts mention benzoin tincture as an ingredient that keeps ink from molding and also infuses it with Mercury's energy, thus empowering any written talismans. Lastly, in healing magic, benzoin is used in fumigation to banish illness and uplift the patient's spirit. Its vanilla-like note is comforting, believed to chase away the malign influence that cause disease. All in all, benzoin's role in magic can be summarized as purifier, protector, prosperity bringer, and enhancer. It has an inherent positive charge. Its smoke is often described as happy or pleasant, so it is rarely, if ever, used for baneful workings. Instead, it's the resin you reach for when you want to clear, bless, and supercharge your ritual space and intentions. Benzoin's primary impact on the body comes through its aromatic compounds, notably vanillin, the same compound in vanilla, and coniferal benzoate, amongst others. The scent of benzoin is often compared to vanilla or root beer, sweet, cozy, and gently stimulating. In terms of neural response, inhaling benzoin can cause the release of serotonin and endorphins due to the pleasantness of the smell. Sweet scents often trigger slight endorphin release as they signal calorie-rich foods or comfort in an evolutionary sense. This contributes to a mild euphoric comfort effect. At the same time, benzoin also has a distinct clarifying property. Many users report that its scent makes the mind feel sharper and the air feel brighter. This could be due to benzoin's slight stimulating effect on the trigeminal nerve. Certain components in its smoke may produce a gentle cooling or refreshing sensation in the nasal passages. The combination of comfort and clarity that benzoin provides can be understood like this. By making one feel safe via endorphins and awake via trigeminal mild stimulation or perhaps slight adrenaline from stimulation, benzoin puts the brain in an optimal state for focus without stress. This aligns with its use in study and ceremony to keep one alert yet calm. Another physiological effect: benzoin resin is a known expectorant and antiseptic when inhaled. In fact, a historical preparation called Friar's Balsam was a tincture of benzoin inhaled for colds. So, burning benzoin can help clear congestion by stimulating the respiratory cilia to move, similar to pine or eucalyptus. This means when you burn benzoin in a space, people literally breathe easier. More oxygen, less stuffiness. More oxygen to the brain can enhance alertness and cognitive function in the short term. So benzoin literally clears the air, not just spiritually, but physically. Its smoke has mild antibacterial and antifungal qualities. On a subtle neurological note, vanilla-like scents are often associated with reduced startle reflex and improved mood, perhaps because of associations with mother's milk or pleasant food. If someone has anxiety, vanilla and benzoin aromas can lower the heart rate and reduce the fight or flight response. Indeed, Tests with vanilla aroma and MRI machines showed patients had 63% less anxiety. Benzoin, being vanilla-scented, likely shares some of that effect. This underscores its role in magic to create a positive atmosphere. By calming anxiety and uplifting mood, benzoin smoke puts participants of a ritual in a harmonious mental state, which is believed to be crucial for successful spell work. There is also an interesting bit of chemistry. Benzoin contains compounds that act as fixatives. Why it's used in perfumery. These might linger in the nose longer, prolonging the stimulation of olfactory receptors. In magical terms, this is literally an amplification. The scent and its effects last longer than, say, a quick burning herb. This prolonged stimulation could correlate to sustained limbic system activation, meaning the gentle mood elevation persists throughout the ritual, holding everyone in the optimal zone. Benzoin's physiology mirrors its esoteric description as renowned for purification, prosperity, and amplification. It purifies by killing germs and opening airways. It promotes prosperous feelings by boosting mood and comfort. Happy people attract luck, and it amplifies the power of other aromas, chemically by fixative action and experientially by extending positive neural effects. Once more, we see that what magicians sensed in benzoin, science can validate in part, truly an ally for both mind and magic. And for the last one of this episode, we have rosemary. Folk name dew of the sea. It's masculine, associated with the sun and the element of fire, the goddess Aphrodite and Mary, and is used for protection, purification, memory, and exorcism. Rosemary has been associated with memory, fidelity, and wisdom since antiquity. Rosemary has been associated with memory, fidelity, and wisdom since antiquity. In magic, rosemary is a multifaceted herb. It purifies, protects, heals, and helps one remember spiritual truths. One of the most common uses of rosemary in witchcraft is a cleansing herb. Dried rosemary can be burned as an incense to smudge a space, much like sage, in order to clear negativity and ward against evil. Sprigs of rosemary were hung above doorways to keep thieves and witches out. Medieval belief held that a flourishing rosemary plant guarded the household. Another major aspect is mental clarity and memory. Students in ancient Greece wore rosemary garlands during exams to boost recall, and brides wore it in weddings as a sign of remembering their vows and keeping faith. Magically, this translates to rosemary being used in spells to improve memory, concentration, and to receive truthful insight. Examples like burning rosemary before studying occult texts or including it in dream pillows to remember one's dream. As a herb of remembrance, it is also used in ancestral work. For example, burning rosemary on Samhain to remember and honor the dead, believing it helps communicate with astral spirits by bridging memories. Protection is another key property. Bathing in rosemary or carrying it in a sachet is said to keep one safe from harm, particularly from psychic or magical attack. In hoodoo, rosemary, sometimes called dew of the sea, can be added to floor washes to spiritually cleanse a home and invite peaceful vibrations. It's also an ingredient in classical Four Thieves vinegar for warding off illness and evil. Rosemary's protective power is often linked to women and femininity. Folklore claims where rosemary thrives, the woman rules the house, and it is associated with goddesses like Aphrodite, born from the sea foam, as rosemary's Latin name, rosmarinus, means dew of the sea. In summary, rosemary's magical profile is dense. Purification, protection, memory, youth, love, and healing. Some call it the old woman herb in references to its wisdom-giving and protective role. It was associated with granny magic and wise women. A curiosity in magical correspondence, rosemary is often linked to the sun for its invigorating quality and to the element fire, yet it's also strongly connected to the ocean, its name, and thus water. Perhaps this duality reflects its ability to stimulate fire while cleansing and healing water. Modern research has cemented rosemary's reputation as a brain herb. Compounds in rosemary such as 1,8-cineol, eucalyptol, and rosmarinic acid have been found to enhance cognitive performance. A notable study in 2012 found that healthy adults exposed to rosemary aroma experienced improved memory speeds and accuracy. Blood tests showed that 1,8-cineol from the aroma was absorbed into their bloodstream, correlating with the cognitive benefits. Essentially, rosemary's scent can act like a mild cholinesterase inhibitor, meaning it prevents the breakdown of the neurotransmitter acetylcholine, which is important for memory and concentration. This gives a specific basis for the ancient practice of wearing rosemary for remembrance. The olfactory nerve stimulation by rosemary leads to increased activity in the brain regions involved in alertness, like the frontal cortex. EEG studies also show that rosemary aroma increases beta waves associated with alert, waking concentration. Beyond aroma, ingesting rosemary, tea, or as a spice can improve cerebral circulation slightly, which may further support brain function. Additionally, one study on elderly dementia patients found that a blend of lemon and rosemary essential oils in the morning improved cognitive function and orientation, suggesting rosemary's stimulatory effect can benefit even aging brains. On the protective side, rosmarinic acid and carcinic acid in rosemary are potential antioxidants that cross the blood-brain barrier, providing neuroprotective effects against free radicals. This might underlie some of rosemary's folk reputation for keeping one young or preserving one's faculties. Another interesting neurological effect, rosemary appears to modulate mood. Several studies note that while it stimulates alertness, it also tends to reduce anxiety levels, though not as strongly as lavender. It could be due to rosemary's ability to lower cortisol. One small study found smelling rosemary reduced salivary cortisol. Thus, rosemary uniquely both wakes up the mind and eases stress, an optimal combo for tasks requiring calm focus. Physiologically, apart from brain effects, rosemary's aroma via the trigeminal nerve can clear sinus congestion, like other menthol-like herbs, though rosemary is milder. It can cause slight increases in heart rate and respiration akin to a brisk walk's effect, and invigoration. Topically or as a liniment, rosemary causes a warm circulation boost and a painkiller on muscles and joints, explaining its use in rubs for aches. This property would be mediated partly by local trigeminal nerve endings sensing the warm compounds like camphor and rosemary. Vision and hearing aren't directly affected by rosemary except indirectly through improved cerebral blood flow. One might feel more visually attentive or better at listening when mentally sharp. The vagus nerve might also get a boost. Some constituents of rosemary, like eucalyptol, can reduce vagal overactivity in gut, hence aiding digestion. But also by improving mood and lowering anxiety, rosemary could allow greater vagal tone, the relaxed state. Summarizing, rosemary's effect on the nervous system is primarily nootropic and neuroprotective. It makes the mind keen, speeds up processing, as measured in cognitive tests. Peppermint combined with rosemary improved alertness, though in one study, memory benefits of rosemary aroma weren't significant unless combined with others. These scientific findings resonate with rosemary's magical attributions of mental clarity, wisdom, and even memory of past lives or spiritual knowledge. And that will wrap up this episode. Hope you all enjoyed, and until the next one.